Hello everyone, my name is Ice37 and today I'll be showing off my Pebbles Hunter run for a GDQ submission. Specifically, we're doing the Pebbles Hunter run with the Downpour DLC, which is a recent DLC for Rain World. This will make the route a bit different and it'll make it a lot faster than it used to be, as well as showing some new areas that we don't normally see. Additionally, with me I have Fletcher here to help out with some commentary, and then the timer is going to start when this circle fills.
Luckily, this character is a lot more simpler than a lot of the other Rain World runs that we tend to do. This character in particular, its entire purpose is to essentially be a messenger. But at the start here, we essentially throw away everything that is needed to do that side quest. This is essentially just going to be heading straight for the ending as soon as we can, rather than actually trying to do any of the things that the game is wanting us to do. This character is basically just a hard mode version of the basic characters. It can run a little faster, it can hold 2 spears rather than just a regular one, and in just most cases, it's just a difficulty tweak.
One of the reindeer wasn't too much problem. One of the main things about this character is that you only have a certain amount of cycles to do things. Cycles are after a certain amount of time it'll rain, because it's Rain World. If you're outside in the rain, you will die. But if you eat enough food and then save, the cycle will go through and you'll sleep through the rain. And for Hunter, they only have 20 cycles to live, but that's not even going to be remote. We're not going to get anywhere remotely close to that. We're also going to get the bonus 5 cycles while we're at it. Although I think we're going to quit out and it's not actually going to give us that. But the main purpose of this is just to get to end credits as fast as possible while using 5 pebbles as one of the sources to give us additional karma. Now we start at a maximum karma of 5. We need to get to a maximum karma of 10 here. These guys are a little annoying. It's 2 really big ones. They can kind of randomize in what size they actually end up being.
Yeah, they are usually not this big. Oh!
I'm gonna eat this guy while I still can. We also accidentally grabbed a noodlefly baby and killed it, because if you grab them, they die instantly.
Looks like the mother isn't chasing.
Maybe the mother will chase it. Yeah, we'll see. We're gonna try to do a little bit of fast pole climb, but it's been a while since I've really done it.
Fast pole climbing is a technique that is kind of hard and a bit annoying to do, but it is very good if you can pull it off. When you boost up a pole as a character in Rain World, you do get a little bit of momentum, but it slows you down and makes you lag at the very end of your boost. And when you fast pole climb, you essentially jump off the pole, switch sides, and then grab onto it, which cancels that bit of end lag you get. And you can do it in really quick succession, but it is a little bit tricky to pull off, because if you miss one of the inputs or mess up, you'll either just stumble, or worst case scenario, you just jump off the pole and die.
Yes. So a lot of places I don't like to always do it. Also, I hope that works out for you, Crew Done. Additionally, we kind of said it before, but Hunter is one of the base 3 that came with the base game. We're playing the DLC, so we'll see some differences. We'll point them out when we can. A lot of stuff is just quality of life stuff. That's why we like it a lot. But
we are going to be going through one of the new areas that was added.
Yes. I'm going to pick this up while I still can. And then right now, we've just eaten enough food from eating that centipede. And going to the shelter we're going to save at. One of the... Please don't push me off. One of the things about this character is that it's a very basic character, especially compared to the Downpour characters. And so we don't have any extra special movement that only Hunter can do. It's basically all fundamentals and understanding the best way to actually play this game. My jump didn't go as high as I was hoping.
Are you planning to utilize the Echo to get a vulture mask at all for the wall?
I
Or
was
are you
not
just gonna
planning.
kind of...
Also, that guy didn't attempt to attack me, which is surprising.
He just gave up.
So one of the things that we can do is there's these giant birds called vultures. We can kill them and steal their face and then wear it to scare lizards, which is it's very useful in an area we're going to be at later. But we don't care about that too much.
We're just too good.
Yes. Alright, we're gonna save here. And then we're going to starve here and then meet our first of a few echoes. Now, normally when we meet Pebbles, he instantly gives us full karma, full maximum karma. But in this campaign, he only gives us 1 level. We need 4 levels to get to the maximum of 10 karma. To actually see these other echoes, we need to get to our maximum karma and then go to where the echoes are. We just went by where one of the echoes are, but we can't actually see it yet because we weren't at maximum karma. So we're going to rest without having enough food, which does a starve, which brings us to the next cycle, gives us extra karma, but we are starving, which makes us a bit slower. And otherwise, if we exert ourselves too much, we pass out like that, which I didn't think we would, but I was moving quite a bit more than I usually would, at least there.
It's generally only advisable to actually go through a starve cycle if you have a clear game plan of food that you can grab and a shelter that you can easily get to. Like if you're just about to enter another room and you know there's a bunch of food, that dropwig did not pass out.
Everything's supposed to be asleep in this area, but also if we hit an echo, it'll send us back to the last proper save, which was just a second ago anyway. And then we have the mark, so we can hear what it says. So once it does a text box, it will go away. And that's our giant spaghetti monster having a birthday party, throwing confetti everywhere. And he upped our karma level. So now we have a karma symbol of an eye in the bottom left there. And we're trying to get to a symbol of an X. So every time we get more karma, we'll essentially get a line of that X.
And right there, normally when you meet an echo, it only gives you 1 karma. But for some reason, and it's just kind of, this is the only weird rule with it, if you meet the echo when you have 5 maximum karma, it will raise it by 2 instead. And that's the only situation in which that really happens.
Why? Well, unfortunate.
These lizards are kind of annoying to deal with. Because they are very fast, very aggressive.
My spear at the same time as my rock. That's not much of a problem. Gotta go back. I could have tried to go through it, but I wasn't confident in that working out well. Scions is a pretty rough area because you also have to deal with the terrain itself.
There's a guy.
As well as creatures. Could try to go for the vulture, but if you hit a vulture twice, it runs away. They're more scary because they are moving walls that can just block you more than them actually killing you by any means. Throwing things in the air sends you a bit farther. I didn't feel entirely right about that jump, so I threw both my items. The item economy is real, and you should be afraid of it. Hunter gets increased spawns for things. Additionally, they can find explosive spears, which are more powerful spears that get 1 use randomly in the world, where the others don't exactly get that. Then some of the basic movements of this game, we're not a glorified square that just jumps around and has special abilities. We have our upright state, which is the more standard state. Then we also have a kind of unhinged state, where it's called on all fours, where both body chunks can rotate around each other freely. Now, we're not doing too much special movement while in that state, but we do need to be aware of it and what it can do.
Oh.
Somehow that egg bug is on the left side.
He was scared. Some of the movement you're probably going to be seeing, especially on these long flat stretches like this, are if you do a slide and then you throw an item behind you at the start of it, you will go a lot farther than you normally would. And it's really, it's just good in those flat areas. It's kind of harder to pull off in areas with bumpier and uneven terrain, and obviously you're not going to be doing that in vertical areas, but there's more tech in those to make up for it.
Yep, so if you look in the bottom left, I also have an input viewer showing what kind of inputs I'm doing. Most of this movement is basically like fighting game movement. So if I'm standing on flat ground, I input diagonal down while standing up, and then I jump at the same time. I'll do a slide, then after a certain cadence, I either jump again to jump out of the slide or throw something behind me. Then I will do that boost and go through the area. It'll also cling to slopes and work out quite well.
And it can look really funny when there's an area with a lot of slopes.
Okay, that was a little bit closer, but it's fine. We're about to get an echo here. So this is our second one. A vulture was there for a second. So if vultures come down from the sky here, they instantly fall asleep and just fall off the edge and die. So that's always kind of funny to see that.
It's funny if they actually land, because they just make a giant almighty thud and hit the ground. And that's actually what I was talking about a little bit earlier in the run, because there's a common strategy here to use an item that will summon one of those vultures and have it summon it around one of these screens, because then it'll be pacified and you can just kill it. It sounds kind of messed up, but it's really useful because it allows you to get that powerful mask that scares away lizards.
Also, because hunter runs are limited to the amount of cycles you can actually do in them, there's hunter score runs, which is all about getting as many kills as you can, as many passages to get score multipliers, and getting kills that way is one of the biggest things you can do.
However, you can actually kill enough vultures that they just don't spawn anymore. And then you have to, like, give it up for a few cycles. Give them time to respawn.
It's all randomized if they respawn. Yeah. I think it's 50% for every creature you kill.
Yeah, I think it's 50.
I think there's 6 of them, so you gotta... Things gotta go poorly. Oh.
Ooh. I don't trust myself doing that without a pounce of sorts.
Yes. It's a little... It's been something I've been thinking about a lot, throwing 2 things there. But it works out.
That was very clean. No vultures. But now we're going into the wall, which is, it's generally kind of a problem area for these sorts of runs, because there are a bunch of those lizards that can propel themselves around.
We're going to try to keep this spear as much as we can, because we'll be needing spears through this next section. To move through some areas quickly. We can put spears into walls and then climb them, like the poles.
So yeah, for people who aren't familiar with Rain World, this is essentially, we are climbing what is the exterior of a giant supercomputer AI thing, which sounds insane if you don't know anything about this game and are just looking at like screenshots of it. But that's essentially what we're doing. We're going to say hi to this big AI, and he's gonna help us out by giving us some extra cycles that we're not going to use,
and
making our karma go up.
Extra karma. There's also another echo up here, so we'll get the last 2 boosts to our karma, and then we can go straight to the end of the game, which will be going to the end of the game in a slightly different path than we would normally.
And I've actually never seen the path that's taken. I mean, I can visualize what it is.
It's basically the opposite of what the rivulet run does. This man's a little in the way.
I see him. These things are very hard to fight in areas like this because there's not a lot of room.
He actually did bite me. It was unfortunate. Essentially, every time you're bitten by something, there's a percentage chance that you will die. In this case, these guys have about a 33% chance. So we did roll good. Also, we're going to do some extra movement here. I messed up that second jump. This is actually much harder than you think it is.
Orb skip is incredibly hard, but you did it just fine.
We needed the other spear for there. It's nice as hunter because you'll have two, but now I don't have spears for this next part. I'm looking for white lizards. These are these camouflage lizards. They stand still for a while.
They are fighting.
They completely blend into the background. This is where I wish I had a spear. There's not much I can do until one of them walks over to the right, which they always do. If I'm laying down, I'm not making sound. I have 2 rocks, which I guess is good. He fell over.
And the AI in this game works a little differently than you might expect. Just because a creature senses your presence doesn't mean it's going to chase after you. Sometimes they'll just decide you're not worth it and ignore you.
I don't think either of those really knew I was there. Good. I have to make sure on the screen transitions here that I know something's not going to immediately be there. There is 2 more white lizards that I haven't seen yet, and a blue lizard. Blue lizard's probably dead, because the cyan lizards kill them.
Or they just fall off the edge randomly, quite often.
They don't actually die to that. That's actually in their purposeful movement, if you can believe that.
There's those guys. Found him.
Well, that one's injured, so he's gonna run for his life. It's actually a little annoying, because it's in our path.
Yeah, injured creatures will often fall down when trying to climb up, and it can get annoying in vertical pipes like that, but it looks like he made it up just fine.
I don't know where my rock went, but I wish I had it. And I don't want to do something stupid here.
This guy is persistent. Lizards can always move faster than you can, so situations like this are kinda not fun.
Just make sure we'll do this right. I don't want to have it fail.
There you go.
Additionally, if we didn't eat food already, it's good to eat there. This is also Hunter, where normally you're not able to eat lizards, but in this case we can. Also, hello, Rivater. We're recording things. For the marathon.
For the marathon, yes.
And then this will be the last location we'll save in the game, actually. We're going to meet an Echo, and then we're going to meet Pebbles, and then we're going to go all the way down to the end.
Overall, knock on wood, this is going pretty good.
So it's pretty... There's a lot of runs that go along this path that we're going, and I've done a lot of previous Hunter runs that go along this path. So it's not too bad. These lizards are interesting because they spawn in this room, but they're scared to be in this room. They're programmed to not like being in this room. So they act very strangely and then move out to the bottom. They'll leave. They won't chase you very much, even if they do.
And if you can see in the background there, we're above the clouds. It actually does not rain in these rooms because we're above the clouds.
Yep.
And in the back there, there's a bunch of the other supercomputer AI thing.
Meet this guy. Confetti Man, happy birthday. You get Mercedes-Benz. I love Mercedes-Benz.
Let's go. I love F1.
Right. So we're going to be going across the top of this iterator structure now. Essentially, we are on a giant iterative structure that's up on its legs. We entered from a platform from the side through Chimney Canopy. And we're climbing up the side of the wall, and now we're going to be up on top of it. Yeah, it's just going to be a big flat area.
You can see him doing a couple of the fast pull movements there.
And when you mess it up, you just jump off entirely.
So if you can get really good at it, it's really good. But if you mess it up even once, it can really mess with your momentum.
Okay. Here's a special spear pinning location. If you only have one spear, you can place it there. Only if you do a full roll off of a backflip, or just getting a roll in any way.
It looks complicated, but it's really not that bad.
Just about getting a roll in a very particular location. I did it wrong the first time.
If you can see, there's a city in the background because these ancient supercomputers used to house like a lot of people.
And now they're all gone. Where did they
Now
go?
they're all gone.
Okay, didn't get a roll there like I expected.
Yes, extended sliding in this room is very funny.
The thing about it is you can't do it directly on the slope. You gotta do it like
Yeah.
going off of the slope. So you gotta be really good at positioning it at a good spot. But then once you do it, you cling to the floor itself. What?
So we are now entering the 5 Pebbles region to talk to 5 Pebbles, the character.
5 pebbles.
5 Pebbles.
You'll
And
start
we're about
to
to come
notice.
across.
Yes.
Were you gonna mention the murals? Yeah.
Well, we got the murals, but we also got a new mechanic.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking I was in another spot. We'll see murals. These are representation of all the karmas, but we'll also run a new mechanic, which is lower gravity into 0 gravity, which is very fun. Gotta make sure I do this right, because it can push you away if I don't do it right. There we go.
This is really the only room we're gonna be actually experiencing like straight up 0 gravity in.
Yep. Throwing things in a direction makes you move faster in that direction. Kind of saw that earlier in Chimney. It went a little bit too fast. Pebbles is here. He's gonna yell at us about stuff that doesn't matter to us at all. That's great for him. We're gonna sit here and do nothing. We're effectively, once he gives us the additional karma, we quit out immediately. It counts as a loss, but it still keeps us, we still keep that extra karma. And so,
And it doesn't matter that much that it's a loss because the maximum gate is 5.
yep. So all we care about is getting that maximum karma, so then we can go back and actually go to the end of the game. So we're gonna go from the top of the tower all the way at the top, all the way to deep down in the bottom of the ruins in one cycle, just because we can. Also because we got a new route that we can take that's much faster. And so essentially what's happening here, lore-wise, is that 5 Pebbles here and his senior looks to the moon are 2 giant supercomputers. 5 Pebbles try to do something crazy without telling his senior about it and used up a lot of water for a lot of computing power, and it ended up creating a
Essentially
great
killing
cancer.
the other one.
Well, it created a big cancer inside of Pebbles, so he's slowly dying, and Moon fell into the ocean. And so we're trying to save Moon as Hunter.
And the little green thing that we had at the beginning, we were supposed to take it to her to help revive her, but that didn't really happen.
Yep. And so he's telling us he wants to help us in our quests and ups our karma and does other things. Hello, Daily on as well. Hello. So now we're going to be going to the end of the game. And then we're going to go through a new area that was added called the Gutter. It's part of Chimney Canopy. So we're going to be going down this area we've gone up. I got stunned there. Unfortunate. I'm going down for these spears. There's always spears there. I don't know why, but there is.
I mean, I think they constantly spawn there because you're not really meant to get up without them. Like, yeah, there's the roll trick, but... Ooh, he got you. He died.
He fell over. Again.
He fell down. This game does have fall damage, but you have to fall quite a bit for it to
Yes.
actually kill you.
It's like 3 full... It's dependent on speed, but it's basically 3... That's interesting. 3 full screens that you have to fall. Otherwise, you can get stunned at other ranges. So that was a king vulture. Comparative to normal vultures, they can fire their tusks at you, which they aim with lasers. So that's cool. Also, their mask is very prized.
You can get normal vulture masks, and they scare lizards for about 17 seconds, and king vulture masks essentially double that time period.
And scare more lizards, because some aren't actually scared of them.
Right.
Alright. You also negate fall damage with a roll. Kinda. It kinda can reduce it. You go for a roll.
But I mean, I think there's a threshold where you're just going too fast and you've fallen so far that
Yes.
it kind of doesn't matter what you press, you're probably gonna die.
Does help a bit.
Oh my goodness.
He was scared of a vulture. I wasn't too afraid. He fell over. Okay. It keeps happening. But why? I could jump from below, but I'm not happy about it. But also, yes, when you start learning creature behavior, you start to notice things like that was behavior of it running from a vulture, and it was not really going to react to me, so I was able to jump over it.
There's a bunch of really weird, I totally forgot you were going this way.
Yes, we're going this way now, comparative to what normally you just keep going straight down, or heading to the side.
I never visit this part of Chimney. Eastern Chimney is a mystery to me.
I'm gonna do this because I have no faith. Normally, no one ever goes here.
There's not really any reason to. I mean, it looks cool, I guess. I think I got karma stuck here once, and it was just the most unfun thing in the world.
Chimney is an interesting place.
It is often one of the first big hurdles that a player will come across when they play this game. I think I was talking to someone who said they got to like cycle 105 and were just in Chimney.
Alright, we're just trying to make sure we're falling down correctly. Without it being too much of an issue. There's a big spider here. Go away. Yes, go
Mother
down there.
spider. Those were actually added with the Downpour DLC. They're relatively... Oh, well. Oh, well.
He fell over again. Thank you.
They're a lot easier
They
to
might
deal
have
with
been.
rather than other spiders. From what I've had, encounter-wise.
With any of those larger spiders, they can all grab you. Like a soft grab, not actually grabbing you. And that's why he kind of like pushed me around a bit. You can just jump here. No, we're in Dug Gutter. This is a new area. The water is a bit special in that it moves you much slower than if you were in normal water.
I find it funny that they barely spawn any hazers actually in the water, and when they do, it's in the gutter water.
They're cleaning the water. The eeler. Okay. He's gone now.
Eeler. No, Eeler.
Okay. Not my favorite little paw there.
No, it is scary.
And then, now we're going to be entering drainage system. So now, depending on cycle, we got the best cycle. You may want
I think
to
you may have
save
forgotten
here.
to turn off randomized cycle
I think
duration.
it's fine. But if in the event that we get a really bad cycle, we would have to save at this next shelter that we pass by. So that's one thing we'd want to think about. Otherwise, we're in drainage. Basically just the swimming level. We got a bunch of snails here. They pop and stun you.
And they're kind of annoying, but, you know. They make funny noises and they're cute.
They have all the colors. I didn't do the roll correctly. Okay, I did not eat anyway, so we're just gonna go.
The
So main
leeches
thing
here are...
is the leeches, but we're coming from here instead of going into there. That's a lot better.
This is a room that a lot of people just starting out have a lot of trouble with as well, because the swimming in this game can be kind of unforgiving.
Additionally, it doesn't really teach you that pressing jump in the water, although it gives you a boost, doesn't actually help. We're gonna do that again.
It literally,
It speeds you up,
it
but
drains your air, like, a
Yes.
lot.
that was the hardest swim that we can do.
And eventually, once you get to, like, about 1.5 pips of air down at the bottom, it starts taking away your control with swimming.
Start to drown, and you can move fast going up, but because we're in an enclosed ceiling, that doesn't help too much. Because I'm doing a little wiggle when I'm in the water, I am actually swimming a bit faster. It also prevents me from scraping my face off the ceiling, which would slow me down.
I don't think I ever knew that that was, like, a pipe you could go through.
Where else did you go?
I don't know. I don't think I've been here. No, I haven't. Or I don't go through it. Ooh, kelper.
This kelp is jokingly the kelp that will never kill anyone, because it literally can't reach to the water.
Oh, that's so sad.
He's just kind of there to scare you, make you think and grab you. They also changed this room where this pipe's actually tall enough so you can actually jump on these platforms. Where normally you'd have to use a spear on the right wall. That's a change with Downpour. Also, I added a bunch of little food, which is the little flowers. I'm gonna wall jump
The
up.
lily pup. So yeah, we're actually pretty close to the ending already. It's a nice short little run. While still having a bunch of variety and things to do.
This is gonna end exactly like every other run at this point. Well, not every other run, but every other run that one of the base game characters normally does, by going to depths to ascend at the end. So at this point we're entering Subterranean. All we have left is the mole lizards in the way, and then we're in depths, which is all just a movement area. I could technically die to fall damage if I try to go too fast.
Don't be like me.
Do not. Do not depths.
Do not the depths. This area can be a little scary because we're going through here without any sort of light. And it is definitely kind of intimidating to do when you're first starting out. But eventually you just kind of learn where the pipes are.
They've added some residual lighting with the stuff you can see on the side.
I
It's
do
kind of
see
cool.
that. I normally play with Downpour not enabled, so... Oh!
Can't
Goodness.
really tell what's going on over there. I was just worrying about the one on my left, the one below me.
Yeah.
So if that guy's up there, I'm just taking the long way.
Guy just came out of that pipe at the bottom. The
Once
mole
he's
lizards cannot see.
aggravated, yeah, once he's aggravated, the
Hmm.
tips of his whiskers is lit, so I was able to tell where he was. So right now I'm just listening to where they are. Sounds like there's one. Okay. Looks like there's no more in my path.
So pretty much after we go through this next pipe, there's not much that can kill us in terms of enemies. There's a couple of falls that you can die to, but you probably shouldn't.
No throwables in this pipe. If you throw things, it does speed you up. Or else we're doing Among Us room.
Why do you always say it?
It needs to be said. They need to know.
You need to know. Now we're in depths, which is just oh so fun.
So this works very well with the mod we talked about a little while ago, which is the fast roll button, where essentially if you're on controller, you can input a soft angle downwards instead of a hard angle downwards for a roll, which allows a different type of roll than normally available to you. That allows you to jump down a one block tall heights to get a roll instead of having to jump down. Oh, that's unfortunate. Jump
I've been
down
trying to do that trick.
3 block tall heights to get a roll with the hard angle. So essentially the soft roll, the fast roll button. You're not only rolling faster during it, but you get more use out of it, and it's all about putting a small angle down. It's very useful here because it's just pure movement, and there's a lot of just small terrain that's going to be in your way. Didn't pick that up. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, depths, there's basically no threats, so it's all just you and your ability to interact with the environment. It's about to start getting a bit complicated because the physics are going to change.
Yes. One of the things I tried there for a little bit was an EI hop, or an instant extended hop, which was me throwing a rock behind me. The moment I do one of the slides, I also did a cloud hop there, which was me basically jumping off both the ground and the wall at the same time, but it had me do the second jump farther in the air. Here we have Guardian guys. If we don't have our full X karma, full maximum karma, they throw us into the ground and we die. They don't care, so they let us by. This is the last fall we can die on. We gotta fall the whole way. Okay. Do still get some. So at this point, the physics is entirely changed. There's a slight upward movement just on your character entirely.
Things are a bit slowed down, and this area I find particularly frustrating because the terrain is not very even, so it's hard to initiate slides. Mainly, you're going to be wanting to pick up items and throw them to boost yourself further.
One of the other things is that the game is now slower, so the timing is different for everything. Not by much, but it will mess you up if you're not prepared for it. Like that. Just throwing things in general definitely is very good, especially when, because of the slowdown, you can now, if he bounces off a wall, you can pick it up as it hits you back in the face, essentially. Which normally you wouldn't be able to do that.
Another thing that I often do here is I initiate a roll, I pounce out of it, and then I stick to the ceiling for 3 seconds.
Yes, big part of that this is
Because,
not
yeah.
slowing yourself down. Trying to keep that speed from throwing stuff. I could have done a slide here, but when I can't actually see what I'm doing and I don't get a lucky spotlight, I tend not to go for it.
Yeah, the light that fades down is semi-random and when you're gonna see it. So it can illuminate certain things at certain points, but oftentimes it does not. So you kind of just gotta go with your gut on where you're going. As you do the route more and more, you'll eventually get it more secure. And I believe we're about to go into the last room here.
Yep. So time will be when we hit the transition when going down here.
Don't worry about what you're seeing. It's all very normal.
So yes. So big thing about the game is crossing yourself out, or removing all of your primal urges, and then leaving the cycle of reincarnation. So now it ends with us going in here, because of course it does. We got a sub 40, so that was pretty good.
Very nice.
So the time ends here. We're gonna finish the rest of it, because if we have time, given how well we do in the actual run, I'd like to show it. But otherwise, the run has ended at this point.
Is that just a random spear?
That's the one I threw earlier.
Oh,
So
you threw it.
no
Okay.
items can go very far down. So all of them get stuck at that point. At this point, I'm just trying to swim as fast as I can. We're going to do a slight snaking motion. But in reality, most of it that matters is just timing the jump, as the keyboard snaking motion isn't as good.
That's 1 point for controller users.
The slow zone slowly disappears as we get to see what's actually going on down here, because we weren't really talking about it because we're kind of used to it at this point. But this is happening. This is a thing that happens.
These are void worms. They are very large and can sometimes bully you at the end by
They're made
pushing you around.
of corn.
They are made of corn. The texture that the developers used is just a picture of corn, and that is not a joke.
One annoying thing about these guys, and why we removed this part as part of the speedrun, is it's completely random how they push you around. And we've had variances of an entire minute in the past.
Which is just not fun for anyone. Can you imagine, like, you're on world record pace, and then you get bullied by some worms?
Alright, so now we're past the void worm layer. We're just waiting for one to come down. We have to hit a vertical trigger. We'll start hearing stuff, then we go back up, then we manipulate it by not moving at all. There's been a lot of different manipulation tactics to have it go faster, but not moving's been the best one so far, at least as far as I can tell.
Can you point out when it activates its hook? Because I've never been able to catch that.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. It's activated. It's moving away from me though. Yep.
Yeah,
So
I still don't get it.
It'll hit like 7 different points that it randomly goes to. It might be 8.
So now we're getting turned into spaghetti.
Then it goes to. Yes. So this is what happens to all the bad slug cats when they don't go to bed at their designated sleep time. They get strung into spaghetti. So we're getting dragged down all the way into the abyss. What's actually happening, I don't think anyone really knows, and doesn't really matter. I'm going to turn the game volume down a little bit.
It's a tad loud. I wish I was
struggling with spaghetti. True.
Well, start getting your karma up.
this is gonna take a little while. Whole ending sequence about 7.5 seconds, 7.5 minutes. Once we hit the ending part anyway. The void worm at the end can lean left or right. We hope it leans left. It did not lean left. The end will spawn when it despawns off the top of the screen. So all movement at this point doesn't really matter, but we're already heading in the correct direction. Before the ending
Yeah, if you look at his input display down there, you'll see he's like moving between up and down to get that snaking motion.
We're also trying to go at like a 30-degree angle downwards to go to the end. You'll start noticing, once the music starts, you know that the end spawned, and you'll start seeing a gradient in the bottom right.
And you also come across these little guys.
We'll see ourselves. What these actually are, it's up to you. I have a feeling it's past versions of yourself. Probably the best way to put it.
But yeah, you can see the timer stopped and has been stopped since we basically got one screen into the lake of the void stuff. However, you still do need to actually complete the game and go through it on things like score runs, because it doesn't actually technically count the game as quote-unquote complete if you quit out here.
Yes. Alright. We made it.
We did it.
Now we get to see the ending cutscene, and that will be everything that I would like to show on the speedrun. We're going to have it just on the feathering edge of the estimate as it is, so maybe we don't show all of it, but depending on what's going on, maybe we do really good in the run. We save a lot of time as it is, and we can show it off.
It would just be nice to show it just because this game is beautiful and stuff.
Yes. So,
And
big
I don't
thing...
actually think... Yeah, I don't think we talked about the Hunter's story at all.
So, we don't really... The big thing about Hunter is they also have a cancer in them, which is why they only have so many cycles to live. And they'll also turn to a rot thing, like Pebbles is slowly turning into. So when we ascend, we don't really ascend. At least it kind of seems like it. And we just go back to who created us, which is another iterator named No Significant Harassment.
And that's the only art we ever get of him.
Amazing. Then we get to see the score at the end. The in-game timer here only goes off of cycles that you're actually live on, although it's a little sketchy sometimes, so... Yeah, 14
yeah,
minutes.
apparently we only played for 14 minutes. I don't think that's true.
Right. That's everything for the submission to Games Done Quick. Thank you for